they need to be in a happy state of mind. They need to create, they need to go out there, they need to talk to people, they need to build community. So I think these are skills all founders have to get good at, especially if you're in an environment like this, because
Right.
when you're giving good energy, everybody, it can spread. When you're giving negative energy, it's just as easy.
Hey everyone, this is Minasian and welcome back to another episode of Modernizing Biz podcast. On this episode, we have a very interesting and exciting guest with us. We got two awesome people with us. We got Azaan and we have Rohit. Azaan is a lead and is a founder of the Hub, and he's also a co-founder at the Beyond Opinionated, right? Which is been led by Rohit. Super excited for this conversation. Before going deep into the conversation, first thing I want to know, like how you guys are managing to create content for so many places, so many handles, right? मैंने देखा है लोग एक अकाउंट पे ड्रेन हो जाते हैं, right? Even I consider myself like I wanted to do beyond podcast, but मैं नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. So what's how you guys are doing that?
To answer your question on behalf of Azan and both of us, we are able to do it just because of the team that we have created around us, right? We are part of the content creation process, but we are not actively creating each piece of content, right? We are producing everything, but we are not necessarily creating every piece of content. We have a nice team. We have set up processes that our team takes up, and then they create content and replicate it across pages.
Okay, so Rohit, what you highlighted in this fact is that you focus more on like driving the team and working out as a startup, not creating as an independent creator channel, right?
Exactly. But we both are involved, so there are certain pieces of content. So we have our personal pages as well. We have our company pages, and then we have our client pages, right? So it depends on what sort of content we are creating, and we are like, for example, certain videos. We are the ones that are scripting our own videos as well. So it's just different ways of us be creating content. But yes, we have a strong team that is supporting us.
Okay, so Azan, you have been very active. I follow you on LinkedIn very rigorously. So you talk a lot about creators and community building for creators, and you talk a lot about creator economy, right? So I want to take one highlight out of this conversation. According to you, like why you find out what's the importance of community for any creator based platform, you name it, just like you as well. So like when you got the idea, and now what do you think? So what's the scope of in leveraging the community for a creator?
Yeah, I think community is everything, right? And the strange thing is that over the last 2 years, it's become a buzzword and it's overused to the point where
Hmm.
people hear community and they're a little skeptical. Like, is this because the investor wants to hear it? Is this because that's the marketing lingo that you're supposed to say? But at least for me, community is a very a mission driven and personal thing that we kind of stumbled into 6 years ago when we started
Hmm.
building the hub. The hub started as an offline space, shared space provider. So we started with co-living,
Okay.
and we truly over the first 4 years of our journey, we operated co-living, co-working, and event spaces. So we really understood the benefits of having a physical community first, and then post pandemic, when we kind of the brand evolved into a digital like reincarnation, we had a media house, we had an agency. That's when we started saying, okay, what all did we learn building community offline, and what can we do to kind of learn from that and build a community online.
Hmm.
So it was a
Hmm.
very very long process with thousands of people offline that then translated to tens of thousands of people online.
Right. So, then what do you think? So, one thing while building the hub, you find out that like before the hub, सबसे बड़ा pain point creators का क्या था, and now
Hmm.
what's the scenario look like if you want to do a comparative study before and after?
Yeah, I think the first thing, when I reflect back on like why community, why did we kind of start the hub, so many things, right? Connecting people, making things easier, kind of bringing people together, inspiring other people, sharing stories. But a lot of it also ties down to a very fundamental like human need, which is
Hmm.
loneliness, right? COVID really highlighted the fact that as connected as we might be, we're still as creators more so let's say the average person, we still feel that desire to connect, right? Why do we
Right.
tell stories? Why do we want to share our story? Why is it called story? Because we're trying to tell our story, and we're trying to connect with others whose stories we find interesting.
Hmm.
So on a very fundamental level, I say community is a solution to the loneliness in the modern world. And from there, kind of like, we just figure it out.
Okay. So Rohit, like what's I'm curious to know on that part, like what's the average day in the hub look like?
Average day at the hub, it's very chaotic. It's a controlled chaos, I would say,
Hmm.
right? We have a set of editing team, right? We have a bunch of editors that sit together, that have like, at least in a day we are producing at least a good 4 to 5 videos, right?
Wow.
Every day we have at least 3 videos going out on across our pages, right?
Hmm.
And beyond those 3 videos, we also have static carousels and designs that go out across different places, right? So we have a content team that basically works on the research, that works on the scripting process. We have the editing team that works on the shooting, that works on the editing part of it. And then we have certain faces to certain pages, right? Like for example, Azan has his own page. Azan sometimes comes on the hub's page as well. The hub has 3 4 different
Agree.
anchors, right? On Barely Opinionated, I have me as the anchor, right? And then on our
Yeah.
client pages, we have people from our team. So if you look at the hub team and the Barely Opinionated team, they are essentially separate companies, but both the teams work very very closely, right? So the 25 people in the hub team and the 15 people in BO team, all of them come together and work together, and there's a lot of cross learning also that happens in that process. So a day in a hub, I would, to summarize it, is a controlled chaos. We have different cabins, and each cabin you enter and there's a different tornado going on there.
Wow. I can feel the energy, but you touched the point of chaos. Azan, what do you think? So, like individually, like we'll go to our 2 years back in the COVID when we all are locked up in our houses. So each and every creator is struggling individually. Like if they are facing problem in creating content, वो खुद ही कर रहे, file corrupt हो गई editing की, like they don't have file to edit it. They all are figuring out by themselves. What do you think? So like currently how you are managing that each and every person in the hub are associating that the mental fitness is also highlighted, right? Like even if they are working out, even if the chaos is there, but what you're doing to control the mental part, because which is draining into the process of creating content.
Yeah, I think as much as we speak about building a community on, let's say, social media, right, which people can see, I have always believed it's important to build community within the team first.
Hmm.
So if you look at the way we run the team, the amount of creative freedom people have, my job is to guide them, and Rohit also operates on that level, right? When you're trying to build a company that's creating content at scale, you can't micromanage, and
Agree.
micromanagement doesn't work with creative people anyways, right? So I think taking an approach that, okay, if we're going to put out 10 reels a day across multiple sectors and clients and our pages every day, and there are different people editing and shooting in it and starring in it and scripting it and designing it, you are going to have at least one mess up a day, right? And if
Yeah.
you accept that, and you make it safe for people that, okay, certain level of error is acceptable, that de-risks the creative process, which really makes it easy for everyone in the company to kind of go out there, try new things, and just creates a supporting environment for everybody to
Hmm.
operate in.
And to add on to that, if you look at its title also, it's Chief Happiness Officer.
Right. Curious about that part as well. I want to
Yeah.
know that.
So I think that way he has done a brilliant job in terms of course, community outside the company is a different thing, but community inside the company, where it's not just people coming and working, but it's also people enjoying the process of creating
Hmm.
content and really adding value more than just being the people that are hired, right? That's what I think he has been able to perfect across Hub and Barely Opinionated.
But Rohit, I want to add one thing. There are some days जब अजान भी तो लो होते होंगे. So what happened in those days? I want to know.
I think Azan is the best person to answer that.
Yeah.
I'm still figuring that one out, but no man, if I'm being honest, I've I've realized this, right? My contribution, my job here, more than anything else, is energy. I have to
Hmm.
come and I have to charge everybody up, and I have to, like, it's my job to inspire them to do it, to try new things, right? And I've learned this the hard way, how to compartmentalize if I'm having a bad day with me letting out that I'm having a bad day. it's
Agree.
it's almost like a skill that I'm working on getting better at, because if I have a bad day, that's 1 out of 30 people loses productivity. If I let other people know I'm having a bad day, 30 people's productivity will be gone for that day, and their
Yeah.
mindset will be affected for that week. So I think as an entrepreneur, as you grow, as you start to understand that your energy spreads, then you start to be very, very strategic about who to open up with, what to share, because it's not on every single person in the team to take on all the stress that a founder needs to take on, right?
Yeah. So do you
It,
see the circumstances when team coming up and now you're cheering the top level? Is something happen? If you want to share that scenario.
yeah, I think I've learned I can open up and have one-on-ones with people, but I think the way in which me opening up and telling someone in the team something I'm going through or something that's happening is very different from me looking stressed all day to everyone in the office without them knowing what's going on. That creates uncertainty, even if it's in the end not such a big thing, right? Because I may
Yeah.
have all the facts, I know I'm stressed today, I know it'll be fine in a week, but if people feel I'm stressed, their creative process gets hampered. They need to be in a happy state of mind, they need to create, they need to go out there, they need to talk to people, they need to build community. So I think these are skills all founders have to get good at, especially if you're in an environment like this, because
Right.
when when you're giving good energy, everybody, it can spread. When you're giving negative energy, it's just as easy.
Right. And
There's a
it's
line,
it's
right?
it's
And the energy you give is the energy you get, right? So
right.
I mean, that's what we as founders have to do at the end of the day.
So, Rohit, your on-screen energy was amazing, right? So, I wanna highlight one thing. So, being a creator, you're actively creating content and you're putting out the mind-blowing, awesome content. But what are the challenges you have faced currently, and you think so that a lot of creators are facing those challenges, and like what you have done to cope up with that?
So, to to put it in a simple way, before being an entrepreneur, I am a creator, right? So,
Hmm.
because the page that we have, barely opinionated, started off as just an Instagram page where me and one more person, we were just creating content, right? And then the team came up, then Azan came in, and we really built a company around it. But at the end of the day, I'm still a creator, right? So
Yeah.
the problems that a normal creator faces are the same problems I face, right? I sometimes I just don't get ideas to work on. Sometimes I'm just not able to, like, we have a certain process of making a video, right? We know what's going to work in a video through the experience we've had. We know what's going to work in a video, we know what's not going to work in a video, right? But to
Agree.
just get like just to get the information of what's going to work in that video is something that takes a long process, right? Just
Hmm.
to get that first hook is a difficult process. Sometimes that getting that first hook correct takes up about an hour and a half, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So in that way, one of the biggest issues that me as a creator and other creators I can speak on behalf of face is just getting those ideas to create content and stay consistent in that process.
Right. So there is also a term linked to it is a creative block, right? So when
Correct.
mentally we got into a creative block, if you wanna explain that scenario in a simple terms, like even if they have people are going through that phase, but they don't realize. Creator को
Hmm.
पता नहीं चलता like we are going into the creative block phase. So any
Correct.
tips, any methods that you do to just like go ahead with the creative block phase and just start recording it, start creating content.
So there's a general thumb of rule when you're creating content, right? It's 80% consumption and 20% creation, right? You need to consume 80% of the times and then create 20% of the time, right? So whenever I am personally going through a creative block, or for anyone that's going through a creative block, all they need to do is start consuming more content so that different ideas come up. Until they consume content,
Hmm.
until they see a variety of content, they won't realize the capabilities they have or what they can do, right?
Wow.
And that's the main thing.
I think also, Manish, just to add to that,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, if you look at the approach, the two approaches we have at Barely Opinionated at the Hub, They're very different approaches to creating content, even though we operate out of the same space with the same resources and we're the same people, right? Um, and both styles seem to be working. On BO, Rohit drives the content strategy. It's very focused, it's very clear, it's very consistent, and that's paid off. That has its own operational challenges and benefits. At the hub, I learned early on that I didn't want the stress of, I couldn't handle the stress that, let's say,
Hmm.
Rohit handled because my personality wasn't right for it, right?
Agree.
I couldn't do three pieces of content a day and be on camera because I tried doing that during the lockdown. I did 200 Instagram lives. I was wiped out by the end of it.
Oh my god.
We, we grew and everything, but I was done. So now, and I understood that in a very deep level because, like, it wasn't even editing, right? It was lives. It was like three lives a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I never wanted to put myself or anyone else I know in that position again. Our strategy at the hub takes care of that by making it so that one of five people can be in a video any day and making it so simple and so easy and so reducing the risk in a video by saying, you have full creative freedom and five of you guys can be on camera, anyone, if one of you is not feeling in the mood.
Hmm.
That's one way I've at least tried to make content creation easier at the hub. And again, that has its pros and cons. Maybe our consistency is lower, maybe faces are new, but that's one way that I think has kind of helped us to be consistent, funnily enough.
Amazing. So, guys, I wanna sum up the whole the part that we discussed right now. Is any creator, let's take an example, they're facing problem, right? They wanna take it approach as how much they are self-aware about themselves, right? Let's say you touch the point that you are good into leveraging team, building team, and utilizing them to create a business or a content or anything out of it, right? So, and Rohit is more of a performer, not the facilitator, right? So that's where, like, any creators are struggling, they can plan and they can look it in a company format, think like they're running their own startup, and a founder never do all the things in a middle size scale organization, right? So let's want to go deep into monetization, Azan, right? So now you touch the point of creating content, leveraging team, and building a good content base out of it. But what about the monetization? A lot of people now, if you look at, they are very, they want like, I put out 10 reels, मैं पैसे कैसे कमाऊं? How I can get the brand deals. So if you wanna give a exact process, the scenario, what people is developing right now, what new budding creators are developing right now, and what need to be think as a strategist point of view.
Sure. So I'll start.
Yeah.
Cool. I think it's funny, right? Because a lot of creators
Hmm.
think about monetization, they think about brand deals.
Right.
And brand deals is what? It's glorified advertising, right? I think the opportunity at play, if we understand content marketing, is way bigger, right?
Hmm.
Like us being on your podcast today and connecting through a piece of content means we might do business together in the next 12 to 18 months.
Right.
What is that business going to be worth, right? If I start a podcast and I interview every CMO in Bangalore and one of them converts to being a client for my agency, what is that retainer worth over 3 years? That's the way we have to look at content if we're building a business, right? Because that's scalable. But just brand deals, I think it's okay, right? It's interesting, it's fun once in a while. But I think the real business capability is if you understand content marketing's long term benefits.
Okay.
when
Yeah.
you look when you look at a creator, right? When you look at a small creator with say 10,000, 20,000 followers on Instagram, their idea of monetization is getting brand deals, right? Which is essentially the way they should ideally start. But then beyond that, they need to also get out of the mindset of just brand deals and look at what is the future look like, right? And that's where a lot of creators lose out on being a creator themselves, right?
Yeah.
Because they end up going behind brand deals and trying to get money, and when they're not getting those brand deals and they're not getting that money for their content, they lose motivation and a lot of them sort of drop off as well, right? At that point they need to have an idea of, okay, if I'm creating content, My idea shouldn't just be to get brand deals, but my idea should be to build something which is sustainable and which is long lasting.
Amazing. So I wanna you we touched the point like that they can leverage and they can build a bigger wealth just beyond the brand deals. But Azan, what do you think? So for a young creator, for a budding creator, isn't it's going to be the toughest thing, right? Let's take an example of 15-year-old just starting out to create content just because of passion, and then they think of, because of the peer pressures and everything, they're seeing a lot of young kids making money, and then they go into that race. Eventually they don't want to, right? So what do you think? So what's going to be the strategy for them, right, who cannot have that leverage, who cannot just leave the schools and build a business out of it?
Yeah, I think as a 15-year-old kid, um, I think kids today are incredibly smart. They're not going through the same thinking cycles that kids 5 years ago did. And
Probably.
they understand social media on a fundamental level, right? They understand the pros and the cons before they go into it. So that's kind of teaching them to navigate that social media landscape. And I like to speak from personal experiences. I met Rohit because of his content. We became co-founders because I liked his content, he liked our content. What is that worth to me? No brand deal in the world can replace me finding him and connecting with him and starting BO together, or helping him, having the privilege of helping him, him helping us at the hub, right?
Wow.
What is that worth, and how did that happen? That was content marketing, right? I saw his content, I respected it, and we said, let's do this together. It's the same thing when we hire people. I hire people based on their Instagram, right? What
Amazing.
is that worth? Which brand deal is more important than you getting, you matching with the right company and working there for years, right? So there are all your storytelling platform, whether it's Instagram or anything else, it's the way the world looks at you, right? It's your first impression, right? You don't meet
Hmm.
people for the first time when you walk into a room. You actually meet them when you see their LinkedIn or Instagram and decide whether you want to meet them.
Agree.
It's like the
It's
old age resumes,
agree.
essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. Just about to touch that point.
Mhm.
Rohit, you've been creating content a lot from a long period of time. What do you think? So the next wave coming down, do you think so that Web 3.0 is gonna stay? I've seen a lot of creators, like currently I've seen some Web 3.0 creator on Instagram. They plan some ad commercials. So like totally stunned. I've never thought this is going to happen. What's the status in the whole world? If you look at the western part of our world, like is Web 3.0 is leveraging for creators, and what's where we are lagging behind, what's the future?
Web 3.0 is definitely an interesting atmosphere. That personally I feel, I don't know if Azan agrees or not. I feel like it's going to be the future, right? But the current reliability on Web 3 is not sustainable, right? Like for example, people, like if you look at it from a more macro level, right? Just take India as an example. A lot of them are have gotten internet just in the last 5 years, right?
Hmm.
Just in the last 5 years they have gotten used to internet, right? And the internet adoption is only now increasing, right? We have 1.4 billion people in India. About 700,000, I mean 700 million have internet right now. There is still a huge chunk, and that population that I'm talking about is double the population of United States, right? If you take the whole of United States are about 350, 400 million people, right? Double of that is the size of India that who are not using internet at all, right? So pushing Web 3 at this point in India, at least, I would say, is not something that is sustainable. But yes, preparing for the future of Web 3 is what I'm bullish on.
Okay, amazing. So what do you think, Sazan, like what's going to be the monetary benefits if we go into Web 3.0? Let's consider like we are not leveraging that in India right now, but upcoming 5 6 years we start seeing that people are making money creating the Web 3.0 creators and everything, right? So how much the upside of earning money through it?
I think I have so many thoughts on this, but I strongly believe, um, if you're speaking on a public platform and you don't know the topic well enough, you should say I don't know. So I don't understand the complexities of Web 3. I'm very busy in my Web 2 world. I'm very happy here. I think I'm going to be happier for the next 3 years. The concept of Web3 is fascinating. The promises of NFTs and content
Hmm.
monetization and ownership and all sounds amazing. But I'll jump into it once I fully understand it. Until then, I don't want to talk about it.
That's a really great piece of advice when it comes to monetization. Like, people started leveraging things that they don't even know about it, right? So one more thing, Rohit, like I personally want to discuss is what is happening is people are creating content. Now they started blaming like either monetization. Then second point, we touched the point of monetization very well. They comes down to reach, right? If their next move is what they're gonna think about once they got a reach. Let's say I got a 10,000 likes on one reel or 10,000 views, then only I'm gonna think the future of it, right? I know this is the wrong way of doing the things, but what people are blaming now is the algorithm, right? Instagram is doing a lot of things to leverage the algorithm, give more reach, but I don't know what is happening for the reach. But what people are saying, like, the reach is not happening because of the Instagram algorithm. What's your thought on that? What's your thought on that?
It's funny because we were discussing this just last night, and we also blame the algorithm only, to be very honest.
Okay.
Because, see, essentially, when we are as creators, right, our lives are not ours. Our lives are controlled by the algorithm of the platform we are using, right? YouTubers' lives are controlled by the YouTube's algorithm. Instagrammers' life is controlled by the Instagram's algorithm, right? And us personally as well, we have also seen the dip in reach
Hmm.
that every other creator is also facing, right? There are few creators that are popping off also right now, for whatever reason, but a bunch of them that have grown, well, have gone down. There is always a cycle, right? How it works is, you will have stagnation, you'll have a sudden peak, and then you'll have a sudden stagnation, then you'll see again see the peak, right? Right now there is, it's a level of stagnation, and then suddenly in say 2 months, and I don't know how long it's going to take, right? Ideally, based on the previous trends, it's going to take by February March, there should be again again a uphill growth, right? But again, depends on the platform altogether. So what happens is, for a creator, they will see the reach, then they'll reach stagnation, and here at this level, they're just like, what is going on? The platform is not performing well. My content is
Hmm.
not doing well. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Because of that stress, a lot of people give up at that level, right? And recently we had Bhuvan Bam who came to the hub for a particular event, and he's one of the OG creators, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Every creator, every big creator, or every creator who's upcoming now says the same thing, right? Patience is the key to being a good creator, right? If you're patient and if you are willing to stay for the long run, you will see the results, right? So we are stressing about the same thing. We are stressing about our reach as well. But to every creator that's listening, it's important for them to know that yes, reach is important, but you need to be patient for that reach.
Okay, amazing. Like towards going on the end of the podcast, one thing I wanna do, right? Take it as a challenge. Let's take an example. Start with Azan, right? So Azan, what is your best the one creator that you liked the most? If you wanna name one creator that you love listening to, and what's one thing that you find that unique is, and how he's leveraging, he or she.
My favorite creators are the creators around me because I see them off camera and on camera, and I've seen them come in here. I see the creators. I see Rohit, for example. I see Ocean and Ankita, who have been the
Hmm.
faces of Hub for the last 2 years. Have the joy of going out with them to a social event in Bangalore, or just going out with them anywhere, and people coming out and being like, "Hey, you're the Hub girl, right? You're the BO guy, right?"
Wow.
And just watching that happen consistently, and watching them every time not be any different, not feel like, okay, I'm the face of this brand, or I have to present myself differently, but still being the same childish versions or the same original versions of who they were. I think just seeing that, it makes me admire their journeys as creators.
Amazing. For you, Rohit, for you, who is the one creator that you look up to?
Okay. The creator that I look up to ideally would be, I really look up to Finance with Sharan, I would say,
Amazing,
because
yeah.
he he's disrupted the way content, infotainment content is created. I feel like he was one of the first ones in India to bring about that whole skit format in terms of
Hmm.
having a skit format to explain certain topics. and he's really revolutionized the way other creators also create content. Now every other finance creator is replicating his format and trying to
Hmm.
copy, and in like copy to an extent where they're copying his tagline as well, right? Follow my man finance with Sharan, right? So he's one of those guys who's really disrupted the market and the creator system, and I'm really glad that we have someone like him who's really showing different ways of creating content. If it wouldn't have been for him, maybe some other creator would have done it, but I don't know. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have come across a skit format, and I wouldn't have been able to see how you can create content in such different ways.
Right, right. The way he have like really, it's finally the complex subject, right? People are not ready to understand, but the way he's explaining, that is what makes the difference. Amazing,
Exactly.
guys. Thanks a lot for your time, Azan and Rohit. It was lovely chatting with you. Looking forward to have a good moment off podcast as well, and trying to record those pieces as well with you. Thanks a lot, guys. On
Thank you, Manish. Thanks for having us, and I'm looking forward to meeting you the next time you're in Bangalore.
right, agree. The moment you come to Indore, I'm based out of Indore. Hit me up, like we're gonna go to a good food places.
Definitely, definitely.